War tested every leader. The human princess passed without fear. Across the horizon, alien fleets hovered like predatory birds, their shapes unfamiliar and intimidating. On the central platform, leaders from dozens of worlds waited, their expressions a mixture of pride, arrogance, and fear. The Varens, the galaxy's ancient insectoid race, had convened this gathering to test every leader before granting them access to the Interstellar Council. For them, war was the ultimate measure of intelligence, strength, and leadership. Those who failed would not merely be denied recognition, they could be annihilated or enslaved. Among the arriving delegates, one group seemed almost fragile. Humans, barely known to most of the galaxy, walked across the polished metal floor with measured steps. At their forefront was Princess Kayla, the youngest ruler of Earth in centuries. She was slight, her figure unassuming, and her eyes held a calmness that contrasted sharply with the tension around her. Yet beneath that calm lay a mind as sharp as any Varen war strategist. Her advisors whispered quietly, noting every movement, every detail of the environment, ready to act at her command. The Varens themselves observed the humans with skepticism. Their six-legged forms towered over the delegates, their chitinous armor reflecting the light, mandibles clicking in subtle amusement. "Do they think they can survive here?" one muttered to another, its voice a series of clicks and hums. They had seen humans before, primitive, fragile, unpredictable. Some were curious, but most dismissed them as a novelty rather than a serious threat. The arena was unlike anything on Earth. Spanning several kilometers, it combined real terrain with holographic projections. Mountains could rise from the ground in seconds, rivers could freeze into sharp ice walls, and energy storms could sweep across open plains with lethal precision. Every leader was provided with a fleet of drones, weapons, and AI advisors, yet only those who understood the subtle patterns of the arena would succeed. The Varens watched, keen to see who would fall first. Kayla walked to the center of the human group, her gaze steady. She did not glance at the alien leaders around her, who were already gesturing, barking orders, and testing their equipment. She did not panic when the ground trembled as a massive energy wall rose to divide the arena. Instead, she studied the shifts, the vibrations under her feet, the faint patterns in the air that revealed the flow of energy in the simulation. The first challenge began with a roar. A massive holographic battlefield materialized, complete with alien constructs and terrain hazards. The other leaders leapt into action, commanding their drones to attack, deploying energy shields and activating weapon systems. Some ignored the subtle environmental clues, charging straight into danger. Explosions and fireballs lit the air as many leaders' forces were obliterated within minutes. The Varens observed with detached interest, noting how predictably most leaders acted under pressure. Kayla's approach was different. She did not rush. She waited, analyzing the patterns of the energy storms and the movement of the alien constructs. When her team's drones moved, they did so not in random attacks, but in carefully coordinated sweeps. Energy from the storms was redirected, projected shields were aligned with natural cover, and obstacles were turned into opportunities. Her advisors followed her silent signals, adjusting positions with perfect timing. Within moments, it became clear that humans were not ordinary. Where other leaders panicked, Kayla calculated. Where others relied on brute force, she relied on observation and creativity. A massive alien war machine, designed to crush intruders with overwhelming energy blasts, lumbered toward her position. Other leaders fled, abandoning their equipment, screaming into their communication devices. Kayla, however, observed a flaw, a small, nearly invisible gap in its armor. With a swift command, a human drone fired a concentrated energy pulse that disabled the machine entirely. The Varens paused in astonishment, their clicks of communication turning into murmurs of surprise. As the battle unfolded, more hazards emerged. Rivers of molten energy appeared, cutting off escape routes. Mountains rose and fell, forcing leaders to adapt instantly. Many alien leaders panicked, their forces destroyed by terrain they could not predict. Kayla, however, remained composed. Her mind worked like a complex machine, calculating every shift, predicting outcomes, and adjusting strategies with precision. The human delegation moved with an almost eerie coordination. Where other leaders' forces had been scattered or annihilated, Kayla's small team adapted to every threat. They used the environment cleverly. Fallen holographic trees were used as barriers, energy storms were redirected to disable attacking drones, and shifting terrain was leveraged to trap enemy constructs. The arena, designed to be merciless, seemed to bend to her will. Throughout the simulation, the Varens observed intently. Their council chambers, perched high above the arena, were filled with whispers. They survive every trial. They adapt faster than any leader before. One elder, his chitin dark and scarred from centuries of war, clicked his mandibles in disbelief. It cannot be just luck. They are different. Kayla noticed nothing of the alien chatter. Her focus remained on the battlefield and her team. She moved from point to point, issuing subtle commands, watching the reactions of her drones and the enemy forces. Every move was deliberate, every decision measured. Even in moments of potential danger, she did not falter. Her calm was contagious. Her team mirrored her confidence, operating with efficiency that stunned the aliens. Time passed, though it felt like only minutes. The arena's hazards became more extreme. Energy walls collapsed, creating massive fissures. Tornado-like storms of plasma swept across open plains. Alien constructs attacked in unpredictable patterns. Many leaders were eliminated, some begging for assistance, others attempting desperate maneuvers that failed catastrophically. Their fleets were decimated, their strategies proven useless. Kayla's strategy, however, continued to succeed. She had studied the patterns long enough to anticipate shifts before they occurred. She diverted energy flows, outmaneuvered enemy constructs, and created traps that turned threats into advantages. Her advisors followed her silently, their trust in her judgment absolute. By the end of the first phase of the trial, the arena was littered with the remnants of failed leaders' forces. Smoke, sparks, and holographic debris floated in the violet sky. Kayla stood at the center of her team, untouched and calm, a stark contrast to the chaos surrounding her. The Varens watched with a mixture of respect and unease. "Remarkable," one elder muttered. "No leader has ever endured this trial without faltering." Another clicked his mandibles in agreement. "And yet the humans do not panic. They anticipate, they adapt, they survive." Kayla finally spoke, her voice calm but firm. "Stay alert. The trials are only beginning." Her words were simple, yet carried authority. Her team nodded, ready to continue, undeterred by the destruction around them. The Varens had expected fear, hesitation, mistakes. What they had witnessed instead was something entirely new. A human leader who remained composed under pressure, who saw opportunity where others saw danger, and who inspired her team to move with unerring precision. As the arena reset for the next phase, Kayla observed the alien leaders who remained. Some were injured, others humiliated, their pride shattered. They looked at her with disbelief, unsure how such a fragile species could command such effectiveness. Kayla said nothing to them. She did not need to. Her confidence, her calm, and her strategic brilliance spoke louder than any words could. The first day ended with Kayla and her team unscathed, standing tall amid a field of failed leaders and shattered forces. Her presence radiated a quiet authority, one that demanded attention and respect. The Varens had tested countless leaders over centuries, and yet here was a human princess who had passed the trial without fear. As night fell over Vera Prime, twin moons casting pale light across the arena, Kayla looked out at the horizon. She understood the challenges ahead would be greater, the tests more cunning. But she did not fear them. Fear was not part of her strategy. Observation, adaptation, and intelligence were her weapons, and she wielded them with precision. Somewhere in the council chambers above, the Varens debated quietly. "If they survive this trial, what does it mean for the galaxy?" one elder whispered. "A species we underestimated may surpass us all." Kayla did not hear them. She focused on her team, checking equipment, confirming positions, and planning the next phase. Her calm, unshakable presence inspired not only her team, but the arena itself seemed to acknowledge her dominance. For the humans, it was not merely survival, it was the beginning of recognition. The galaxy would soon learn that courage and intelligence could surpass brute strength and tradition. And Princess Kayla, the human leader who faced the arena without fear, would be the one to show them all. The next day, the arena had transformed. The calm violet sky was replaced by a swirling haze of golden clouds, casting a strange light over the terrain. The Varens had designed the second trial differently. It was no longer about raw combat, though danger still lurked in every corner. This was a test of the mind, strategy, and leadership under pressure, a gauntlet designed to break even the most confident leaders. Leaders arrived cautiously, their forces alert, their expressions wary. Kayla observed quietly from the human team's vantage point. Unlike other leaders who shouted commands and panicked at minor setbacks, she remained calm. She knew that in a trial designed to test intelligence, haste and fear were more dangerous than any weapon. The terrain was a massive labyrinth, stretching for kilometers in all directions. Holographic walls appeared and disappeared, constantly shifting to create new paths and dead ends. Gravity fluctuated in certain sections, making movement unpredictable. Strange energy fields blocked certain areas, while invisible sensors triggered traps if the leader or their team made a wrong step. It was the ultimate test of observation, planning, and adaptability. The alien leaders entered first. Many immediately tried to force their way through, smashing walls with energy blasts, sending drones to scout aggressively. Others attempted to communicate with the labyrinth's AI, hoping to predict its movements. Almost all failed spectacularly. Drones were destroyed by traps, leaders were separated from their forces, and confusion spread like wildfire. Screams and frantic commands echoed through the maze as the Varans observed with detached interest. Kayla took a different approach. She stepped forward calmly, scanning the terrain. She noticed subtle patterns, the slight shimmer of walls moments before they shifted, faint energy trails indicating the safest paths, and vibrations underfoot that revealed hidden pressure plates. Every detail mattered, and she absorbed them all with quiet focus. She issued her instructions in soft, precise tones. Her team moved as a single unit, following her commands with exact timing. Where other leaders relied on brute force or overwhelming numbers, Kayla relied on observation and intuition. The maze responded to their presence differently than it had to others. Holographic walls shifted in ways that revealed paths, energy fields stabilized momentarily, and even traps that had destroyed alien leaders were avoided with clever maneuvers. Some alien leaders attempted deception, projecting false paths and using holograms to create illusions of danger. Kayla paused, analyzing the anomalies. Instead of rushing forward, she waited, letting the traps reveal themselves. When the illusions became clear, she redirected her team to take advantage of the confusion. In moments, humans had bypassed sections that had trapped the most advanced alien commanders. The Varans, observing from above, were intrigued. "They anticipate every trap," one elder clicked. "Not with technology, but with thought. No other species adapts this fast." Another elder leaned closer, mandibles twitching. "It is not just intelligence, it is fearlessness. They do not hesitate, they do not panic." As the maze grew more complex, Kayla's strategy became even more apparent. She divided her team into small units, each following a different path. Yet she maintained constant communication, predicting every move, ensuring that no one became lost or trapped. Where other leaders had scattered or faltered, Kayla's team moved with confidence, trust, and efficiency. Midway through the trial, a sudden challenge arose. The labyrinth shifted violently, creating a massive chasm that separated Kayla's team from a crucial energy source needed to proceed. Alien leaders panicked, trying to force bridges or blast through walls. Kayla assessed the situation calmly. She noticed that the walls of the chasm were unstable, shimmering with energy that could be redirected. With a quick command, her team manipulated the energy fields, forming a temporary path across the divide. They crossed safely while alien leaders struggled or failed entirely. The human princess remained composed throughout. She did not shout, panic, or show frustration. Every action was deliberate, measured, and precise. Her calmness inspired her team, who moved without hesitation, their trust in her absolute. This synergy, this unity, was something the Varans rarely observed. Even species far older than humans often fractured under pressure, their egos and fear overriding strategy. Meanwhile, whispers spread among the alien leaders who had survived this far. They were astonished and unnerved. "How can a species so fragile endure this?" one asked another. "It is impossible, yet she leads without fear." She sees through every deception. Some tried to rally their teams, attempting new strategies, but their panic and arrogance undermined their plans. The humans advanced steadily while others stumbled. The maze introduced even greater challenges. Some sections had inverted gravity, forcing the team to move upside down while maintaining coordination. Others had rapidly shifting energy storms that could fry drones instantly. Kayla's observations and quick thinking allowed her team to navigate these hazards with near-perfect precision. When a section collapsed unexpectedly, she redirected energy flows to stabilize it temporarily, giving her team the opening needed to continue. At one point, an alien commander attempted to ambush Kayla directly, sending a squad to flank the humans. Kayla anticipated the maneuver almost instinctively. She repositioned her team silently, creating a trap of her own. The alien forces fell into it, their advanced weapons neutralized by clever placement and timing. The commander was forced to retreat, humiliated by a species they had underestimated. By now, the Varens were paying close attention. Their council chambers were filled with murmurs of disbelief and curiosity. "She does not react with fear," one elder said. "She predicts, she adapts. Every move we observe has purpose and intelligence." "No other leader has ever shown this," another added. "Perhaps this species is more than we imagined." Kayla did not notice the observation or the whispers. She focused entirely on her team and the maze. She understood that panic or arrogance would be fatal. Every path had risks, every decision mattered, and she treated each step as part of a larger strategy. Her mind moved faster than the shifting terrain, calculating probabilities, outcomes, and potential traps. As the labyrinth reached its final sections, the challenges became almost insurmountable. Walls shifted rapidly, energy storms intensified, and alien constructs appeared to block the path. Leaders who had survived thus far faltered under the pressure. Some attempted to rush, others hesitated too long, and almost all lost crucial resources. Kayla's humans, however, continued moving with unity, precision, and confidence. In a particularly dangerous section, the floor collapsed beneath them, revealing a chasm filled with pulsating energy. Human drones hovered, forming a bridge, but the energy threatened to destroy them instantly. Kayla's mind worked quickly. She calculated angles, timing, and energy flow. With a command, her team redirected the energy, stabilizing the drones just long enough to cross safely. It was a display of ingenuity and courage that left even the Varens momentarily silent. By the end of the trial, the humans had not only survived, but they had excelled. Every other leader had suffered losses, some serious, others complete failures. The Varens, observing from above, were forced to acknowledge the unprecedented feat. Kayla had passed a trial that tested not only skill but composure, intelligence, and leadership under extreme pressure. As the labyrinth dissolved into open terrain, Kayla's team regrouped. Not a single member had been lost. Not a single drone had been destroyed beyond repair. They were intact, coordinated, and ready for the next challenge. The calm, composed presence of Kayla had guided them through every obstacle, and her leadership had been flawless. The alien leaders who had survived watched in awe and disbelief. "She is fearless," one admitted reluctantly. "Her mind is sharper than ours, her courage beyond measure." Another, more bitter, whispered, "We were meant to dominate, and yet she stands undefeated." Kayla turned to her team, her expression calm, her voice steady. "Rest briefly. The trials are not over. Observe, adapt, and trust each other. That is what will carry us forward." Her words were simple, but their authority carried weight that no display of force could match. That night, as the twin moons of Vera Prime rose above the horizon, the arena was silent except for the occasional hum of residual energy. The humans camped together, checking equipment, recalibrating drones, and reviewing the day's events. Kayla watched the sky, her mind already analyzing what the next challenge might be. She knew that the final trial would test them even more severely, perhaps pushing them to the limits of endurance, intelligence, and courage. The Varens, in their chambers above, debated quietly but urgently. "This species they do not fear, yet they think faster than any leader we have observed. Their unity, their ability to adapt it is extraordinary. Perhaps the Interstellar Council must reconsider their assumptions about humanity." The conversation continued long into the night, their uncertainty growing with every passing hour. Kayla did not hear the whispers. She only knew one truth: fear was a choice, and she had chosen not to let it guide her. Her team trusted her, and together they would face whatever lay ahead. Every obstacle, every trap, every deception would be met with calm, with intelligence, and with courage. And so, humanity's reputation began to grow. not through weapons or strength alone, but through ingenuity, fearlessness, and unshakable leadership. The galaxy was beginning to notice, even if the Varens were only now realizing the full extent of what humans could achieve. The trial of the mind was over. The humans had emerged unscathed, unbroken, and unafraid. And Princess Kayla, the young leader who faced every test without fear, had begun to carve a legend that would echo across the stars for generations. The final trial awaited. The Varens had spared no effort in creating a challenge that would push every leader to the limit. Unlike the arena and labyrinth, this was no simulation. It was a real battlefield on a remote planet scarred by centuries of war. Mountains of jagged rock rose from the ground, rivers of molten metal snaked through valleys, and toxic storms raged unpredictably across the plains. Leaders were tasked with capturing a strategic stronghold located in the center of the planet. Survival depended not only on combat skills, but on strategy, adaptability, and the ability to inspire followers under extreme conditions. Other leaders arrived with fleets, drones, and heavily armed squads. Their approach was aggressive, overwhelming force, relentless pressure, and absolute confidence that strength would prevail. Many were seasoned commanders, veterans of countless wars. Yet there was an unease in the air as they noticed the humans arriving last, lightly armed and seemingly unprepared. Their exosuits were modest compared to alien armor, their drones fewer and less sophisticated. Several commanders whispered dismissively, certain that the humans would be crushed within hours. Princess Kayla, however, remained calm. She surveyed the battlefield from the observation ridge, her eyes tracing the terrain, the placement of hazards, and the movement of her opponents. Unlike the other leaders, she did not rush. Every detail mattered: the speed of the storms, the flow of molten rivers, and the way enemy drones moved. Her mind worked rapidly, calculating possibilities and outcomes, yet she exuded a sense of serenity that unsettled even the most confident alien commanders. Kayla's team spread out strategically, moving with precision and coordination. While the alien leaders relied on brute force, Kayla relied on ingenuity. She used the environment itself as a weapon. A rock formation became a shield, molten rivers were diverted to create barriers, and toxic gas clouds were manipulated to slow enemy forces. Her team followed without hesitation, anticipating her every command with perfect synchronization. The first engagement came swiftly. A massive alien war machine, larger than any Kayla had seen before, advanced toward her position. Its weapons discharged beams of concentrated energy, designed to obliterate any obstacle. The human team had few weapons compared to its firepower, yet Kayla did not panic. She observed the machine's movements, noting its pattern of attack and the slight delay in its targeting sensors. With a quick command, her team lured the machine into a narrow canyon where its size worked against it. Using energy pulses to destabilize its balance, the humans toppled it into a molten river below. The alien commanders watching were stunned. A machine designed to crush thousands of soldiers had been neutralized by a handful of humans through strategy alone. As they advanced, hazards multiplied. Torrential storms made visibility almost impossible. Alien drones patrolled in unpredictable patterns. The terrain shifted, creating pitfalls and deadly energy streams. Other leaders responded with brute force, many losing units or becoming trapped. Kayla, however, moved her team like a chess master, anticipating every move and using the enemy's strengths against them. One particularly dangerous section forced the team to cross a valley filled with molten energy streams and floating rock platforms. A misstep would mean instant incineration. Most alien leaders attempted to cross in a straight line, resulting in losses. Kayla observed quietly, then instructed her team to move in a calculated rhythm, timing jumps and drone placements to redirect energy flows. Every member crossed safely, demonstrating not only intelligence but trust and unity. During the battle, some alien leaders attempted to deceive Kayla. They created false strongholds, set ambushes, and tried to mislead her with holographic projections. Kayla, however, anticipated these moves. She analyzed inconsistencies, subtle energy fluctuations, and behavioral patterns in the enemy's drones. With precision, she led her team past every trap, often turning it against her opponents. Several alien leaders were trapped or forced to retreat, their pride shattered. Midway through the trial, Kayla encountered an enormous alien commander, known for ruthlessness and tactical genius. The commander advanced with a squad of elite units, determined to eliminate the humans. Other leaders had fled from this commander, their forces crushed in moments. Kayla assessed the situation with her usual calm. She noticed the commander relied on intimidation, using its size and weaponry to create fear. Rather than confront it directly, she devised a clever maneuver. Kayla split her team, luring the commander's units into separate corridors while a small unit circled behind. Using the environment, they triggered collapses that blocked escape routes and forced the commander into a narrow canyon. The commander, overconfident, advanced into the trap, only to find itself immobilized and vulnerable. A coordinated energy strike from Kayla's team disabled the commander without any loss. The humans had again proven that intellect, courage, and teamwork could triumph over sheer power. As the trial progressed, it became clear that Kayla's calm leadership inspired not only her team, but affected the battlefield itself. The humans moved with unity, creativity, and unwavering confidence. Even minor obstacles that had destroyed alien squads seemed manageable under her direction. Each success amplified their momentum, reinforcing Kayla's reputation as a fearless and brilliant leader. The alien leaders who survived the initial phase were shaken. They had underestimated humans repeatedly, their arrogance replaced with cautious respect. "They do not fear," one admitted reluctantly. "Their thinking it is faster than ours. They adapt to every challenge." Another added, "Perhaps we have judged them wrong. Perhaps their species is extraordinary." Their whispers reflected the dawning realization that the humans were not merely surviving, they were excelling in every aspect of the trial. The strongest challenge came when the humans reached the central stronghold. Guarded by the most advanced alien drones and defensive constructs, it appeared impenetrable. Most leaders would have attempted a frontal assault, losing countless units in the process. Kayla, however, studied the terrain, noting patterns in patrols, energy surges, and weak points in the defenses. With careful planning, she orchestrated a multi-directional approach. One team created a diversion, drawing the drones away from key entry points. Another team used temporary energy shields to approach from above. Kayla herself led a small squad through a narrow passage, exploiting a weakness in the stronghold's defense systems. The humans moved like a single organism, each action timed perfectly. The drones were neutralized, energy fields bypassed, and the stronghold was captured without unnecessary loss. The Varens, observing the humans' success, were forced to acknowledge the unprecedented performance. Council chambers buzzed with discussion and speculation. "No species has captured the stronghold without massive casualties," one elder clicked. "And they have done it with fewer forces, relying only on intelligence and coordination." Another elder added, "They are fearless. Every challenge we set has been met with strategy, not panic." "We may have underestimated humanity." Kayla, standing at the center of the captured stronghold, surveyed the battlefield calmly. Her team regrouped around her, exhausted but unscathed. The alien leaders who had survived the trial watched with a mixture of awe and apprehension. Some nodded respectfully, acknowledging that brute strength alone could not defeat this human princess. Others, still prideful, remained silent, unwilling to admit defeat but unable to deny what they had witnessed. The trials of strategy, courage, and ingenuity had proven something extraordinary. Humans could excel where others relied on power alone. Kayla had led her team through impossible hazards, outsmarted the most advanced alien commanders, and achieved objectives that others had failed at. Every obstacle had been met with calm, precise action. Every threat had been neutralized without fear. Night fell over the war-torn planet, painting the sky in deep shades of orange and red. Fires from destroyed constructs cast flickering shadows across the terrain. Kayla, standing on the balcony of the stronghold, looked out at the horizon. The human team was safe, intact, and victorious. They had proven their worth in a trial designed to test the very limits of leadership. As the alien leaders retreated to their observation points, some murmuring in disbelief, Kayla addressed her team. "We have done well, but we must remain vigilant. The final evaluation awaits. Observation, adaptation, and courage have carried us this far. Together, we can continue to surpass every challenge." Her voice was calm, confident, and inspiring. Her words reinforced not only the humans' resolve, but hinted at the legend that was beginning to form around her. For the Varens, the message was undeniable. Here was a leader who could face every danger, outthink every opponent, and inspire those under her command. Fearless in battle, brilliant in strategy, and composed under pressure, Kayla had proven that humanity was not merely another species to be tested. It was a force that could challenge the expectations of the entire galaxy. And so, as the twin moons rose above the planet, the humans rested, their victory complete but their vigilance intact. The trials had tested every leader, but Kayla, the human princess, had passed without fear. Her actions had rewritten the assumptions of the Varens and inspired both allies and adversaries alike. The legend of the fearless human leader continued to grow, her brilliance shining as a beacon of what humanity could achieve when courage, intelligence, and unity guided every decision. The galaxy had witnessed a power it had underestimated, and the story of Princess Kayla was only beginning. The final phase of the trials was not about combat alone. The Varens, ancient and calculating, had designed it to test leadership, diplomacy, and vision. Beyond the battlefield, they wanted to see who could inspire loyalty, make wise decisions under pressure, and prove their worth to the Interstellar Council. Kayla knew that the last challenge would combine everything she had faced so far: danger, strategy, and judgment. Her team assembled at dawn on the surface of Vera Prime, the sky painted in shades of copper and violet. Alien leaders arrived as well, their pride battered but their determination unbroken. The council had decreed that all surviving leaders would participate in a final evaluation, a multi-stage test designed to push every skill to its limit. The first stage was a negotiation with a simulated alien faction known for unpredictability. Leaders were tasked with brokering peace to secure access to critical resources. Others faltered immediately. They were too proud, too blunt, or too fearful to negotiate effectively. Kayla, however, approached the task with careful observation. She listened more than she spoke, noting patterns in behavior, tone, and intent. Her calm demeanor put even the simulation's most aggressive entities at ease. When she finally spoke, her words were simple, confident, and precise. She proposed solutions that balanced the needs of all parties, demonstrating empathy, intelligence, and adaptability. Even the Varens, observing closely, noted the effectiveness of her approach. Her human team coordinated seamlessly, providing insight and ensuring every move supported the larger plan. By the end of the negotiation, she had secured the resources with minimal conflict, while many alien leaders had failed to reach agreements or had escalated tensions unnecessarily. The next stage returned them to the battlefield, but this time it was not about brute force. Instead, the terrain was a test of logistics and coordination. Leaders were given limited resources and asked to secure multiple strategic points, each defended by drones, automated defenses, and environmental hazards. Most leaders relied on force, sending their armies straight into danger, losing units and time. Kayla studied the terrain carefully. She divided her team into small, efficient squads, each assigned tasks based on strengths and situational advantages. Energy storms raged unpredictably, rivers of molten metal blocked paths, and shifting terrain created new hazards. Where others panicked, Kayla remained composed. She redirected her drones, manipulated environmental energy fields, and coordinated movement with precision. Her team adapted instantly, turning obstacles into advantages. Several alien commanders, watching from a distance, realized that their larger, more powerful forces could not match the humans' ingenuity. In one particularly tense moment, a massive drone squad attacked Kayla's forces unexpectedly. Other leaders panicked, calling for reinforcements and losing valuable time. Kayla, however, had already anticipated such an event. She redirected smaller units to create diversions while a specialized squad struck at the drone squad's weak points. Within minutes, the threat was neutralized, leaving Kayla's team unscathed. Her calm, decisive actions had prevented chaos and maintained momentum, impressing even the Varens observing the trial. As the day progressed, Kayla moved from challenge to challenge with unwavering focus. She navigated complex mazes, negotiated with hostile factions, and coordinated her team across dangerous terrain. Every decision was deliberate, every action precise. The alien leaders who had survived were forced to acknowledge the humans' brilliance. Some admired it quietly, others struggled with resentment, but all understood that Kayla's approach had fundamentally changed the perception of human capability. By late afternoon, the trials culminated in a summit before the Varen High Council. The arena was silent as the leaders presented their results. Many alien leaders arrived battered, their confidence diminished, and their reputations tarnished by mistakes in previous trials. Kayla, however, stood calm and composed, her team by her side, all unbroken and ready. The council's grand hall shimmered with energy as ancient Varens observed each participant, their eyes calculating and critical. The eldest among the council clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. "No species has passed all trials with such composure," he said. "No leader has combined intelligence, strategy, courage, and diplomacy in such a way. This human is extraordinary." Other council members nodded in agreement, their tone mixed with awe and something approaching respect. Kayla listened quietly, her demeanor humble but firm. She did not boast, yet her presence spoke volumes. One counselor addressed her directly. "Princess Kayla of Earth, you have faced every challenge without fear. You have led your team with intelligence, unity, and courage. You have negotiated where others have failed and overcome obstacles that others could not. What say you of your species and their place in the galaxy?" Kayla met their gaze calmly. "Humans are not the strongest, the fastest, or the most technologically advanced. But we are resilient. We learn quickly, adapt to every challenge, and work together. Fear does not guide our actions. Knowledge, unity, and determination do. If we are trusted with responsibility, we will act with intelligence, honor, and courage. That is our strength." Her words were simple, yet carried weight. Every council member, every surviving leader, and every observer in the hall felt their truth. Silence filled the chamber as the Varens deliberated. The elders consulted among themselves, clicking and humming softly. "A species we underestimated," one said. "Their leader has proven beyond doubt that humans can not only survive but excel in every trial." Another added, "Perhaps we have judged too harshly. Perhaps humanity deserves not just recognition, but respect." Finally, the eldest clicked decisively. "We hereby declare that the humans have passed every trial, not merely by surviving, but by exceeding every expectation. Princess Kayla, your leadership and the courage of your team have demonstrated that your species belongs among the honored members of the Interstellar Council." A murmur of surprise ran through the remaining alien leaders. Some nodded in respect, others looked uneasy, realizing that they had been outmatched not by strength but by intellect, courage, and unity. Kayla's calm, fearless presence had rewritten the expectations of the galaxy. Kayla turned to her team, her eyes bright with quiet pride. "We have done well," she said softly. "This is only the beginning. Together, we will continue to face every challenge with courage and wisdom." Her team nodded, their confidence in her absolute. The bond they shared, forged through trials of mind, strategy, and survival, had become unbreakable. The Varens, observing from their council chambers, were thoughtful. Their assumptions about humans had been shattered. A species they had once considered weak, fragile, and unpredictable had proven capable of outthinking and outmaneuvering the most advanced civilizations. The galaxy would never view humanity the same way again. In the following days, the humans were celebrated not just as survivors, but as exemplars of what intelligence, courage, and unity could achieve. Kayla's name became known across the galaxy, not through fear, not through conquest, but through the brilliance of her leadership and her fearless resolve. On Earth, word of the trials and Kayla's success spread rapidly. Humanity had finally been recognized as a force capable of standing among the stars. Leaders and citizens alike were inspired by her courage and intellect, and the legend of the human princess who passed every test without fear began to grow. Kayla herself remained modest. She knew that the trials were only a step, that the galaxy would continue to challenge humanity in new ways. But she also knew the most important truth: fear was not a necessary part of leadership. Intelligence, unity, and courage could achieve what others deemed impossible. The Varens formally welcomed Earth into the Interstellar Council, not as a subordinate, but as an equal. Other alien species, who had once dismissed humans as weak and fragile, began to reconsider their assumptions. Across the galaxy, the story of Princess Kayla's fearless leadership inspired new alliances, respect, and admiration. Kayla's final address to the council was simple, yet profound. We do not seek domination. We seek understanding, cooperation, and the chance to prove ourselves. Humanity's strength lies not in our power, but in our courage, our intellect, and our unity. That is how we will face the future together. The council chambers erupted in respectful acknowledgement. The humans had not only passed every trial, but they had earned a place of honor in the galaxy. The legend of the fearless human princess, the leader who faced every challenge without fear, had been cemented across civilizations. As Kayla looked out from the balcony of the council's central chamber, the stars stretched infinitely before her. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown challenges, but she did not feel fear. She felt readiness, determination, and the quiet confidence of one who knew that intelligence, courage, and unity could overcome any obstacle. And so, the trials ended. The humans had proven themselves, not through brute force, but through brilliance and fearlessness. The galaxy had witnessed the rise of a leader who would inspire generations. Princess Kayla returned to Earth, her name already a legend, carrying the knowledge that humanity's place among the stars was no longer in question. From that day onward, the story of the fearless human princess spread across worlds, a testament to what courage, intelligence, and unity could achieve. Leaders of every species learned to respect humans, and humanity itself learned to trust in its own remarkable potential. The trials had tested every leader, but only one passed without fear. Princess Kayla had shown the galaxy what it truly meant to be human. War tested every leader. The human princess passed without fear.